The Galaxy Note 10, it's a weird device. It feels like after the S10 series, Samsung felt like splitting up their flagship into three. That is one too many and took the regular and E versions and combined them into one. And the Note 10, it gets parts from both of these. Now, when it was announced, you guys saw my reaction, or at least the few who watched that video did. I was not psyched. 70,000 rupees for a full HD phone, 60Hz display. Bleh. I was not impressed at all. But I've spent a few days every week since launch with this phone, and my opinion, it has changed. The Note 10 has kind of changed my opinion for me. And in this video, I'm gonna talk you through my experience with this phone. Now, if this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, note it down. My name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and for more lame puns like that, go ahead, hit that bell icon. Let's get started. I like knowing my stats. The Galaxy Note 10 is the first Galaxy Note since the Galaxy Note 3 to have a full HD display. Now think about that. That is a long time, right? So long that I was super dismissive about it. But once I picked up the Note 10, I started loving this small form factor. Samsung's S Pen experience, now it isn't something that's quite been replicated on anything else. Yeah, you get the Apple Pencil and the Surface Pen, but while they do come close, they are on tablets, a totally different form factor. It's like apples to oranges, no pun intended. On a smartphone level, you get absolutely nothing that comes anywhere close to offering the same kind of experience as Samsung does with the S Pen. And Samsung's always provided that experience on the best phone with the best specs they've had, with the exception of one. And do you remember that one time Samsung stuck an S Pen onto a non-flagship Galaxy Note? If you do, leave a comment below. Let's see if you can remember. Now, no Googling, no looking up GSM Arena, be honest, and I will give you the answer by the end of this video. Go ahead, leave a comment, and anyway, let's move on for now. Given the S Pen and the Note experience, it's always been on larger displays. The Note 10 is something that felt fresh to me. I'm someone who likes compact phones, and the Note 10, it felt quite compact. Not small enough that using the S Pen on it felt cumbersome, but small enough that it was easy to wield. But the display was still large enough to comfortably doodle on. Talking about the display, this Full HD Plus panel, it's gorgeous. Yes, it's not Quad HD Plus, of course. The bump down in resolution is noticeable since... Okay, let me tell you how I've been using this phone. So over the past few months, I turn off my primary phone on weekends, and I have a number that's just for friends and family. Now this is the phone that I use on the weekends. It's a phone without social media or work mail on it. So this is what I use on my weekends, and this is why if there is something that goes wrong with a tweet or a description on a video uploaded over the weekend, it takes us a lot longer these days to fix, because I'm not constantly monitoring everything on those days anymore. Anyway, it's as this weekend phone that I've been using the Note 10 over the last 3 weeks. The Note 10 Plus was the phone I was using as my primary during the week for the last 2. So in this time, I've been constantly jumping back and forth between the Quad HD Note 10 Plus and the Full HD Note 10. So I was able to notice the difference in resolution. I was able to notice it a lot more than if I'd just been using the Note 10 continuously, because in that case I would have gotten accustomed to it. In this case, I wasn't getting accustomed to it because I was switching back and forth. The resolution drop, while noticeable, it still wasn't bad. It didn't bother me too much. The Note 10 still has an excellent display. It is AMOLED, so it's lively, it's colorful, it's bright, it just looks beautiful. I do wish Samsung had a higher refresh rate panel like OnePlus with the OnePlus 7 Pro. That smoothness would have been amazing here, especially with One UI. Now One UI is something, I can't believe I'm saying it, it's Samsung software, but I really enjoyed using it. I mean, the interface itself, it's gotten pretty smooth and it's more single-hand usage friendly. Now on this 6.3-inch all-screen panel, it was really easy to use. One UI doesn't need you to reach the corners of the display. I mean, it doesn't need you to do that all that often. And even when you do, given the size of the Note 10, it's relatively easy to pull off. It was all the more noticeable to me given how I was switching between that monstrous 6.8-inch Note 10 Plus and this. So I came to enjoy how compact this form factor was. Now, the hole punch on top, I'm not a huge fan of it. I prefer the side alignment like with the Galaxy S10 series. I feel when the hole punch is to the side, it's easier to cover when, say, you're playing a game or watching a movie or a video, and hence it's less distracting. But after weeks with these two phones, I found myself getting used to it. It's a distraction, yes, definitely, but it's one you do end up getting used to. Now, my favorite part of the Galaxy Note 10, it's of course the Note experience, the stylus, the S Pen. Now, watching Samsung demonstrate the gyroscope features at launch, I was like, haha, stupid gimmick. There's no way I'm actually going to be using this, right? But of course, the camera mode switching part, never really got around to using that. I did use the stylus as a clicker for selfies, but then that's something I used last year. Now, what I was surprised to find myself using was the Air Actions in Chrome. Now picture this, you're in bed, you're going through an article, you've got the stylus in hand, and you're just flicking through it, reading stuff. You don't have to hold the phone in hand anymore. You don't even need to like just swipe through stuff. And it's just, it's comfortable. Is it something you absolutely need? Is it a feature you should be really paying for? Not really, not at all, but it just made me feel that Air Actions here, the gyroscope-based S Pen functions, they're more than just gimmicks. And Samsung is guilty of trying to sell a lot of gimmicky functions in the past, but this one isn't that. There's actually some useful functionality here. Now, talking about useful functionality, Bixby routines and quick commands were pretty useful too. I have a dedicated video on that. No one, and by that I mean absolutely no one, watched that video. So assuming you guys don't care about it, I'm not going to talk about it here. So let's move on to some trade-offs from the Note 10 Plus. Now, neither phone has a headphone jack, but it's only the Note 10 that does not have a micro SD slot. But hey, it comes with 256 gigs of onboard storage, and that's plenty enough for most people. On the RAM front, it's got 8 gigs instead of a maximum of 12 like with the Note 10 Plus. But I stand by what I've always said, as of today, anything over 6 gigs of RAM is overkill for Android. 8 or 12 makes no difference in reality. And we've already seen the display difference. Battery, it's 3500 mAh here, down from 4300 on the Note 10 Plus. But still the battery life is above average. Now, I am the guy who usually says, give me a thicker phone with a larger battery. But here I feel with the Note 10, Samsung has kind of struck the right balance. At 7.9 millimeters, it's still quite slim. At 168 grams, it's still lightish. And the 3500 mAh battery fares a lot better than you'd expect it to. Even with heavy usage, I'd get to the end of my day pretty easily. Now, though I didn't have my social media apps on this, on the weekends I used it. Now, these were the days where I would have Spotify playing constantly on these loud stereo speakers while I'd be gaming on the PC, or I'd be playing Plants vs Zombies too. Yes, I'm one of those people who do still like doing that, and I do that a lot. I also use the Note 10 quite a bit for navigation on my weekends, so my usage can definitely be classified as intensive. The 25-watt charger that's included in the box, it gets you from about 0 to 60 in a little over half an hour. And like with the Note 10 Plus, even if you do buy a 45-watt charger, that's not gonna work here. There is wireless charging support at up to 15 watts, just like with the 10 Plus. And this back, it's pretty identical to its Gorilla Glass 6, both here and to the front. In between, it's a stainless steel frame, which is a step above the aluminum frames that we find on most phones. So Samsung's done pretty good here. The IP68 water and dust resistance helps keep things durable. That's at the back, it's still slippery, so if you wanna add a bit of grip, then you can consider adding a skin to your phone like I did. This here is a dbrand skin on my Note 10. Dbrand has a huge selection of perfectly cut skins for most popular phones. You can mix, match, choose whatever works best for you. If you do wanna pick skins up for your phone, they are our sponsors for this video, and I'll leave a link to Dbrand in the description below. Do check them out for yourself. Now, talking about this back, there is one difference here, that time of flight sensor you find on the Note 10 Plus. That's nowhere to be found on the Note 10. Now, barring that though, these are the same amazing cameras. So this is 4K 60 FPS video.
There is no electronic stabilization at this resolution, but since there is optical stabilization, things are still pretty stable. And as you can see, the footage is crisp, the colors are great, the dynamic range is pretty good. It's typical Samsung, excellent footage overall. At 4K 30 we get electronic stabilization. There's a bit of that software, that jelly stabilization effect, but hey, it is what it is. There is pretty good stabilization at work here. And we also get access to the other two sensors. So this is the telephoto, and that jelly effect is a little bit more visible here. And this is the ultra wide. This is pretty stable, right? Now this is super steady. It's 1080p 30. Now this is the ultra wide sensor, but it's pretty cropped in. That's because of the intense algorithms working, and that's how it's compensating for the shake. And this is the regular sensor. So we do lose a little bit on detail, but then that's how you gain this kind of stable footage. So if you want the stability, it's there. It's almost like like the phone's on a gimbal, right? Good job.
The primary is a 12 megapixel sensor with a variable f1.5 lens. This takes some rich and vibrant pictures. I love the dynamic range on this. I feel that's what really sets the Samsung flagship cameras apart from the rest. Now zoom in and you can see how clean the processing is. Under low light, the optical stabilization along with the night mode help take some excellent shots. Talking about OIS, it's present with the telephoto option too. Now again, this is a 12 megapixel sensor, but it comes with the f2.1 lens. The ultra wide also impressed me a lot. It's got the trademark Samsung processing with those punchy colors. The images, they're pretty colorful. They do come across as really nice. Now, despite having a time of flight sensor, the Note 10 can still do portrait video, and it seems to do a reasonably good job. The background blur, it's not too bad, is it? For selfies, we only have a single camera. This is a 10 megapixel f2.2. It's got autofocus though. It does really well with the dynamic range. Quite impressed there. Samsung does allow for a cropped in and regular option, as you can see. And of course, it does allow for live focus. The live focus shots turned out nicely too. So at the end of the day, I ended up liking the Note 10 a lot more than I thought I would. A lot more than I probably should have. Now for a phone that costs 70,000 rupees, Samsung should probably have included a lot more. A Quad HD panel, support for 45-watt charging, micro SD, 12 gigs of RAM. But this is the Note 10. It is not the best value for money phone. It's not perfect. It's got its flaws, and I still do like it. It is what it is. Now, if you are someone who's always liked Notes and have wanted a smaller Note phone, or even if you're someone who's just liked smaller phones in the past, you should probably give this a shot. Like me, you might never know you actually wanted it. So that's my take on the Galaxy Note 10. What do you think about it? Surprised with my experience? Not so much? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of, that question. The non-flagship Note, the only time Samsung's done that was with the Note 3 Neo. Way back in 2014, Samsung decided to release a mid-range Note, so they went with a 720p panel on this one with a mid-range chip. Didn't really work out and the idea was quickly abandoned. So that was the Note 3 Neo. And with that, I guess we get to the end of this video. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.